wasn't walking home. I was walking to go dump some rubbish, and I was walking behind these two Edomite chicks, and they were talking about how some old dude was talking to them, and she was saying, you know, I don't know you, but you know, you expect me to suck your dick and all of this stuff. So just even how these women speak, you know, when they're with their friends, how they speak is very vulgar. Women in this society are very vulgar, you know, for the most part. Obviously not all women are like that, but you know, if you don't apply, let it fly, you know. But the women here are very vulgar, man. I was watching a video earlier today, and the elder was like, you know, you follow your purpose, man. Don't be following these women. Everything shall be ordered onto you, you know. You follow these women, you're gonna end up, you know, in a not very good place. But look at how David fell, man. He fell because he wanted another man's wife. You know, Solomon fell because he was chasing strange women. Samson fell because of a woman. Adam fell because of a woman. So you know, what's the commonality between all of those stories? And women will sit there and be like, who asked? No, not me. You know, and I was speaking to a woman earlier this week, and she was asking me about the scriptures. And every single time she asked me about the scriptures, I came back and I'd answer her, you know. And she was saying about how people in her family know the scriptures, but they were going off. And I'm like, well, if they were going off, clearly they didn't know the scriptures. And for you to say they know the scriptures, you'd have to know the scriptures to know if they knew the scriptures. Because if I'm an engineer, if I'm a plumber, how can I judge another plumber's work unless I'm, you know, I'm astute enough and I have a comprehensive idea of the field I'm in to analyze their work and say it's up to par? It doesn't make no sense. If I'm not a mechanic, how can I look at your car and tell you what's wrong with it? I can only do that if I'm also a mechanic. So unless you're studied and well versed in the scriptures yourself, how can you then turn around and say somebody's well versed in the scriptures? But yeah, you want to sit there and argue with me. And she's sitting there talking about free will. I'm like, Ross, surely the spirit, like, Ross, you have free will, but you have the spirit on you to do certain things and behave a certain way, do you not? Because she was telling, like, she's basically in the spirit where, you know, she's just basically about to clock out. She wants to die. But the Lord ain't put the spirit on her to do that, you know? So if you really want to die and yet you've not killed yourself, how much free will do you have? Clearly the Lord is keeping you here, but you don't want to be here, but yet you're still here. So how much free will do you really have? If these people had free will, you don't think that they'd create a better society than what they have? They don't, because the spirit is on them to be complete devils and destroy everything that they go, and just to create anarchy in the earth. That's why you have all these people. You got people walking throughout the friggin' park and you got masks on your face. They're supposed to come to the park to get fresh air, but yet somehow you got a mask on your face. You're breathing in your own carbon dioxide. You know, how much free will do you have to think for you? Because if you had free will, you'd be able to think for yourself and realize that's not to your betterment, it's to your detriment. So these people are just going along, they're cannon for them, man. These people ain't awakened to nothing. And this is Hebrews 12. I've kind of jumped a bit here, you know. My son, despise not thou the chastening of the Lord, nor faint when thou art rebuked of him. For whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth, and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth. If ye endure chastening, Yahweh dealeth with you as with sons. For what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not? But if ye be without chastisement, whereof all are partakers, then are ye bastards and not sons. And I use our own story. You know, when I used to live with my dad, I remember one time I didn't do the washing up. So I've eaten and I've left my washing up in the sink, and I've gone out, you know, and I come back and all the washing up was on my bed, you know. And I'll tell you something, I never left washing up in the sink ever again, because he dealt with me as a son, and I learned from that, and I learned how to behave myself, and I learned how to be clean. So, you know, we're being dealt with as children of Yahweh, because we're going through all of this chastisement, we're going through all of this tribulation. And, you know, as Job said, the wicked don't see a day of tribulation. You know, they think their house is gonna go to the end. You know, they live to see their grandchildren. These people are living good. They're not being chastised because they're not really loved by the Lord. You know, the only thing that these people love is their own damn self. You know, Satan loves them, so he gives them everything that they can have in their hearts, you know, to their heart's contempt. But there's balance. You know, you've been chastised, but you receive the kingdom. You know, these people have everything now, but what they're going to receive? You know, they're going to be completely cut off. Furthermore, ye have had fathers of our flesh, which have corrected us, or which corrected us, and we gave them reverence. Shall we not much rather be in subjection unto the Father of spirits and live? For they verily for a few days chastened us after their own pleasure, but he for our profit, that we might be partakers of his holiness. Now no chastening for the present seemeth to be joyous, but grievous, or grievous. Nevertheless afterward it yieldeth the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby. Wherefore lift up the hands which hang down, and the feeble knees, and make straight paths for your feet, lest that which is lame be turned out of the way, and let it rather be healed. Follow peace with all men and holiness, without which no man shall see the Lord. Looking diligently lest any man fail of the grace of Yahweh, lest any root of bitterness springing up trouble you, and thereby many be defiled. So we're supposed to, be firm in this, lest we fall and we return to our own ways. And this is one of my favorite scriptures. This is Hebrews 12 verse 16. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. For ye know how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected, for he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears. So, these people are always trying to get their inheritance back, man. And, they figure that they can get their inheritance back by, killing Jacob until only he's left. But there's always going to be, a remnant of Jacob to come back and carry on the seed, because these people are utterly rejected. They've been given the earth as stewards, and what have they done to it? They completely destroyed and defiled everything. What's up, doggo? Yep. Let me go through some here. Oh, this is Hebrews 3, verse 12. Take heed, brethren, lest there be in any of you an evil heart of unbelief, in departing from the living power. But exhort one another daily whilst it is called today, lest any of you be hardened through the deceitfulness of sins. For ye are made partakers of Hamashiach, if we hold the beginning of our confidence steadfast unto the end. While it is said, today, if ye will hear his voice, harden not your hearts, as in the provocation. For some, when they had heard, did provoke, howbeit not all that came out of Egypt by Moses, but with whom was he grieved 40 years. And was it not with them that had sinned, whose carcasses fell in the wilderness, and to whom sware he that they should not enter into his rest, but to them that believeth not? So we see that they could not enter in because of unbelief. And this is the same thing, we've been promised the kingdom in the same way that Israel, was promised Jerusalem, and because they didn't believe, they were slain in the wilderness, and only a few remnant managed to make it to the kingdom. In the same way that, 2/3 of our people are going to be slain, and only a small remnant, the 1/3 and the elect shall see the kingdom. It's the same thing. As I said, the Lord plays us out. Like chessboard. The Lord knows what he's doing. So we're not supposed to have the spirit of unbelief like, 2/3 of our people are. They don't believe in that. They believe in that power. They believe in going to these people for help. They're seeking to Egypt for help. These times Egypt slayed them. So they don't make them. This is Hebrews 5 verse 13. For everyone that useth milk is unskillful in the word of righteousness, for he is a babe. But strong meat belongeth to them that are of full age, even those who by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern both good and evil. And this is the whole point of Eve biting the apple, so that we could discern good and evil. Because if we didn't go through religious chastisement, we wouldn't know how badly you can mess up, your rulership and your government of the planet. We've seen how these people do it. And we wouldn't have known this until we saw it. So it's like certain times you need to go through stuff to refine you so that you see both polar extremes of a situation, so you know what true judgment is. How are you supposed to know what cold is unless you've been hot? How are you supposed to know what hot is unless you've been cold? You need the two contrasting emotions and feelings and experiences to be able to understand what each is in its correct perspective. So we, all of this stuff that we're going through, it's to fashion us into that, righteous goal, so that we know how to rule correctly, so that we don't rule like these people. Because as it says, when the righteous are in charge, the people rejoice, but when the wicked are in charge, the people mourn. And all these people are mourning, man. You can see in their countenance, in their aura and their demeanor, that they're completely out of here, man. They're gone. And I can't see. Sometimes I just be walking now, I just start laughing, man, because I can see it all coming to an end. And they don't perceive it, man. They truly believe that this man is gonna pull something out of his arse hat. He ain't gonna pull nothing, man. He ain't gonna do a damn thing. He's a little puppet being played, just like Pharaoh's heart was hardened. And he went and he damned his own self. And I keep skipping around, man. This is Hebrews chapter 1 verse 13. But to which of the angels said he at any time, sit on my right hand until I make thine enemies thy footstool? So we're supposed to patiently sit on the right hand of the Lord, and he's gonna make our enemies our footstool, man. I feel like hopefully I can make it to the kingdom, because I'll put the hurting on these, so man, I wouldn't even be as bad as they are, but I'll make them work from sun up to sundown, man. I'll whip them, I'll laugh at them in the same way that they whip and they mock us daily, man.